Hi, I'm Colin,
I'm Sarah.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Bea.
and we're the Gamesmiths, and we just played Candy Shop, and we just had a blast. So we wanted to go over our notes for the game, and I'm going to give it over to Adam.
Thanks, Colin. So overall, I think just like the last group, we were completely enjoyed the game. Thought it was very fun. I think everyone was engaged just about every second of the game. I personally thought it was really fun to be on pins and needles throughout the whole thing, wondering if a baby was going to come up or not, which I think some comments were made in the last one that maybe a second baby should be put on the dice. I don't agree with that. I really like the fact that there's scarcity with the baby, because to me that was a really fun moment, and I like that it didn't happen very much. And then I feel like on one of Sarah's turns it happened twice, and then we didn't see it for a while, and it just like the fact that it was very scarce but did seem to come up quite a bit. I really enjoyed. So I don't think another baby should be put on the dice, but I think Tyson was saying maybe experiment with it. I don't think there's any harm in that, but I can't see myself liking it with more babies. Another thing that goes with the dice and the baby was the candy. I think it was the candy. Looked very similar to the baby.
It was very difficult.
We got a lot of false slaps on that, which when the rules were read, I was like, who's going to false slap the baby?
Maybe that's what you're going for.
I actually really like that. I think that was one of my favorite parts of it, was that there was so much of a chance for you to be an idiot, pretty much, and give up your candy on purpose, almost. So that was fun.
So I really liked, I think someone mentioned maybe making the different sides different colors. I actually loved it. It was really hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
I just think maybe upping the contrast, just literally being able to, I think the blue on white is just difficult to read a little bit, just maybe upping the contrast so it's a little bit more visible from a distance, I think.
Yeah, because when you were all the way across, somebody who's throwing in the corner, I was over here, and Bea, you were exactly there.
Yeah,
and
so if you're looking for that baby to slap, if you don't,
what she was rolling, so I wasn't sure when I should be swatting and slapping.
Yeah,
I had to lean over the table to see anybody else, and then it kind of gave me an almost unfair advantage because I'm already hovering over things to be able to see things. So having it a little bit more visible, I think, would be handy.
Yeah. I do love the contrast idea, but I don't think making the candy one color background and the baby another color background.
No, I think that they should be the same. I'm just talking overall the entire, the blue and white.
You should just black.
I just think the comment was made with the other group of, I think there should be different colors, and that's what I disagree with.
I think it should be challenging.
I love
there can be different colors. I might play with it, see how people like it, see if people are still trying to slap the baby or not. If it's too easy to tell, and people are just nobody's even biting.
Yeah.
Because if that's the way it goes, and it ends up that people are still having fun, I would say do it.
We just had so many moments where it was baby, no candy, darn it!
And I think
that was
so fun.
I would memorize the color and not the symbol.
Yeah,
it would make it so much easier. Yeah.
I just love the fact that every time the baby came up, there was still this hesitation. Still, is that candy or is that baby? And I just thought that was fun.
Well, and if you did want to do two babies, I would say maybe do actually two different babies, like a boy and a girl. So
you can only slap one baby.
Yeah, so you're planning on it looks like the boy, but it's actually the girl. And you slapped the wrong baby. You have to put a candy in for the next person. So that's one option.
Sure. My last thing was the economy system. I think Ryan. I think a lot of people talked about that. Ryan brought it up though, I think first, and I really think that's a great idea. I ended up coming out to a huge lead on this for both rounds, I guess. Because I was the fastest slapper, and I think that Colin thinks I was the cheating slapper, but either way, I agree with Ryan. I don't think the game should be given to the best slapper. At some point, even though I was winning, I didn't enjoy that so much because it just felt like a slap game, which I think you've done that successfully. You've made a slapjack type game, really different and fun. Yeah. So it's still very nostalgic. Everyone's played slapjack as a kid with a normal deck of cards. So it's got that really cool nostalgic feel to it. but you've built so much more around it. But I still don't think it should be dominated by just that one mechanic.
Yeah.
I feel like there should have been more.
I think
I
upping
thought,
the value of the money somehow needs to come into play.
well, yeah, and if money's more valuable, I think that fixes all of it. If money's the 2 and the candy's the 1, it fixes the theme, so it actually makes sense. You're trying to sell off your candy and make money, but it also fixes the fact that the slapper isn't just
The only
going
person
so
who will
far
win.
ahead. Yeah, I had like 60 points in just candy in that first round
Yeah,
because
it was a lot.
I think I won like 5 or 6 slaps in that first round, and so. Anyways, but yeah, I think switching the economy.
Yeah,
around
and I had a
bit-
big pile of money the first round, and I felt like, man, I'm doing really well. And then, like, looking at the points, I was like, really? As a business owner, I would want money over candy. I'm selling the candy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that was all I had. B, do you want to say anything about?
Yeah, so when the rules were first being explained, I was a little confused, but it took literally no time at all for me to catch on to things. And I will have to admit that sometimes it takes me a minute to get all the rules. Like, there were a couple things that I didn't quite get at first. But I think that was, even with all the cogs that were kind of into play, it was really easy to figure out what I was supposed to be doing. And with the card was really helpful to have everything there right there to be able to be like, okay, so now I do
Yeah,
this.
that card
Like,
was
that
nice.
was
I like the card.
really good. I like that a lot.
And I like
Yes.
that the pace of it was like the first round was a little bit slower, so you could get the rhythm of, okay, this is how it works. And then once the stakes were raised, it moved faster, and I liked that a lot too.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned a quick reference card because I feel like a lot of quick reference cards I don't really reference ever, but this one was like really helpful.
Mhm.
And
And really
that did stand out to me.
easy
Quick
to
reference
read.
cards don't
Yeah.
usually stand out to me.
I read
so-
it before the game started, and I felt like I already knew where the game was going, how
Yeah.
the game would play just based on that little card. So that was cool.
Yeah, that was good. Sarah,
Anything
anything
else?
else?
I don't even know what I was gonna say. I think maybe a couple little things, like I know that they also touched on it, but the small injury, like I don't know how that is a solution though, because the slapping is such a fun part of it. So I don't know. I guess
rings. I think
no
if we
rings.
wouldn't have,
Yeah, maybe
like,
a
take
couple
any
warnings
jewelry
or
off.
something on there, like
Everyone clip their nails.
clip your nails, don't wear
I mean, the guys at
rings,
least.
be gentle, like maybe just even that enough of a, just so everyone is aware that you
Just prepare
might
for battle.
prepare, because I think that they said it like we'd still play it again. It was super fun, so even my finger hurts still, and it's okay. Like
I mean, when the die lands on the baby roll, that was a great foresight. Maybe that was already
Yeah. I bet someone-
feedback
Yes.
you've already gotten. So
Don't
that was
do it.
good for sure.
Yeah.
Keep that. And I was thinking a way to increase the money as far as in the middle. I don't know what you call that, but the
baby
candy
pop.
that the baby has. And to avoid more injuries, you could like have the top 3 people to put their hands in. So that way, like everyone else, if you hadn't put your hands in already, you're not going to already slap. You already lost, and then you have to give the baby some candy.
Mhm.
So that could minimize the injury. And that way, if somebody's not paying attention, you're like, oh, dang.
and I also like adding more to the pot. I think that's like the more penalty you can make people
Yeah.
have, and it's always going to make it more interesting.
Yeah, because there was a couple times when the baby was rolled, and
we got one piece of
Yeah, we
candy,
got one
like,
piece
cool,
of
I
candy.
don't
So it's like, well, it would be cool if there's always a penalty, and that there's always like everyone's really intent on I gotta slap that baby because he's taking on the candy.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that third round could really escalate though.
Yeah.
If 3 people are putting in candy 3 at a time each time.
mm-hmm.
And I kind of bummed a little bit that I ended the game. I thought it would be fun to end and it kind of was fun to end the game in the way I did, but that last round's also kind of the most dramatic round, and I don't feel like we really got to play it because I just like got out of it. But I think in that round, if you get too much candy with the baby, that can almost make the winner. Like,
Yeah, that was my problem with round 3. Is like
candy all
there
at
was
once.
tons of candy just going around, and I was like, well, oh man, if you're already in first place, you can stop the game and just make sure that you won. And that's locking out the game is not something that's fun to anybody. And I kind of like made Laurel lose a little bit.
yeah, she didn't like that. So.
But I was because I was frustrated that I felt like I was a little bit locked out of the rolling and actually getting to experience. I felt like I was doing a lot of watching what was going on and be like, well, my stuff's getting taken. But because I was the person to the right of the starting player, I didn't get to play as much. And then when it went around to reversing the order and then going to the least amount, I was still just kind of locked out of the game. And it was really kind of disappointing. Because I was like, man, I want to have a chance to do this, but someone already has lost all of their candy and the game is the round is over, and now we're going to the next round. And wow, my points are like over 50 under first place, so it's like I feel like I don't even have a chance here.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would agree that you either need to have the reversal of the players, or you need to have a different a different starting player every time. You either need to start with the same person and then you can reverse it, or you need to go constantly in the same direction and then switch up who it is. And I feel like you'll have a lot less of that lockout if you just take away one of those components instead of having both of them in play.
Yeah, I think that would be a good solution, because it could, I mean, it might not always happen, but if you win and get it, like you could, if it keeps going around and you happen to win and you happen to win or lose or whatever, you could get skipped both times. That's, but not always. So I think that would be a good solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, something I just remembered really liking about the dice was being able to pick up the person's dice.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a lot of
It
fun.
happened to me so many times. It was so frustrating. Like Ryan was on it every time, and I didn't even think about it. I never think that like pick up the dice after I roll, and so I was constantly.
I like
I
just
thought that
being
was
able to
really
like,
good.
I think I'll
against
take
you,
this.
especially like when I was like
Colin
threw-
even picked
like
up my
threw-
dice.
threw them over the Well, because you were supposed to have you were supposed to throw them so she could get them, and she couldn't. So
No, that was fair. But I just that was very fun.
just grabbing like
dynamic
and fighting over the dice was really fun.
It was a very good supporting mechanic that just felt like it fit with all the other craziness and
I like that it makes you like, you always have to be alert and paying attention to what's going on, and it's always interactive. Like if you're not paying, you're gonna lose.
Tyson and I missed out on a baby roll because we were discussing something, but we weren't actively involved. And that's another thing. Like you can, as the person in charge of the die, you can roll when people aren't paying attention and have a better chance to like, oh, I see the baby first, and yeah. It's fun. It was really engaging.
Yeah, I got both of my babies off of my own roll, so that was.
Yeah.
I rolled a lot of babies.
Yeah,
I did. So one last thing, I felt like the opening statement of the rules was really good too. We get a lot of rules that do that either okay or not so well, and I felt like you nailed it. You even added like a second paragraph that kind of supported the first little thesis theme statement, and for me that really helps me to deeply engage. Like for me, whenever I think about a game, I want a game to take me down into an experience and leave me there, a fun experience, and leave me there for. I'll stay there for hours if it's that good of a game.
You're living in a fantasy, a story,
Right.
You're making a story and a memory with your friends.
And I'm always
looking.
looking for how fast does the game take me there, and then does it ever distract me and kind of pull me out? Like, are there any kind of mechanics or anything in the game that's choppy that ever distracts me and pulls me out of the experience? Then I have to kind of get back down into it. And I felt like that opening statement in your rules was really good, and I felt like it helped me get there really quick. It was very clear what I was supposed to do, what the challenge was, what all these interactions were going to be. I felt like it framed my mind really quick. And the reason I'm saying that is because we get so many of these games that are either decent to bad with that opening statement, and I think it's very important. So I think
Sometimes
you
it's
did a great
missing.
job.
So it's
Yeah,
great
they don't
to
even
it.
have it. So.
Yeah.
And it helps me get into the experience really quick. And I don't feel like your game did anything to distract me or ever pull me out. I was fully engaged the whole time.
Definitely.
Yeah, very fun game. I'm already thinking of a number of people I'd love to play it with, especially with Christmas coming up and just family.
Yeah,
gatherings.
family, friends. It's a
I
great
can't think of
party
anyone
game.
who
Yeah.
wouldn't, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't want to play this game. And like other
Yeah.
party games that are like Apples to Apples and Balderdash, and like I can think of plenty of people who don't like playing those types of games, but this is just fun. Like
Yeah.
Everyone likes to slap things, especially the baby in this game.
And I feel with those types of games, other party games, like you have a very big advantage if you know the group you're playing with.
Mm.
And this, like, you didn't need to know who you were playing with. Like, things like apples to apples, you have a very big advantage if you know those people because you can play to what you think that they'll want.
Mm.
And so if you're new in that group, you're probably going to lose.
Mm.
So was really good to be able to come into a group of people that I don't necessarily know very well and still have a lot of fun with this game. And that's a really great thing to have.
Absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah, and the one thing I might clarify in the rules is I would say define exactly where your hands are going to be. Like a couple of us are putting our hands behind our back, a couple of us were just ready right at the edge of the table. So I might clarify about that, but it's not necessary.
Yeah,
But
we also wanted me and another one were like, I think that could be house rules, but whatever.
yeah, you can do it however you
However
Just
you
how
want.
I
It's
would-
a thing that you want
how
to
I would prefer. I tried to deliver it more honorably, and Adam's just ready to go, and then
But like for things
I
like
might
when
be cat,
when B had to like lean over the table, like if she has to do depending on situations, that might be I don't know. It might be a situation thing.
Okay.
It could be. I don't know.
But all in
Something to
all,
think about.
we had a really great time. I think everyone all around, I think everyone wants to play it again. Great job.
Yeah.
All of we have a lot of input here, but I think it's all very minor stuff. Easy to fix. Great game. Thanks so much for sending it.
yeah, thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Yes, it was awesome. Thank you.